Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to have a different style of upload. We are going to be using the Four Kings of AKA, and if you don't know what that is, the American Kickboxing Academy, a gym that Cain Velasquez, Daniel Cormier, Luke Rockhold, and Khabib all fought out of, and all were champions, all were absolutely phenomenal, and we're going to start off with none other than Cardio Cain, and he's one of their mythical fighters, sea-level Cain. He's had some absolute wars. Obviously, his most noticeable wins against Verdum and Brock Lesnar. But yeah, just done absolutely amazing things in the sport. Last fight was against Ngannou, I believe, when he popped out his knee in like 20 seconds, although Ngannou did land cleanly. But yeah, it was sad to see him go out like that, but he was just littered with injuries. But you can see the type of man he was by the way he helped his teammates and how happy he was for them, and obviously he coached at AKA as well. I believe he was the wrestling coach there for a while, or he helped out at least. And yeah, he was just a phenomenal fight. Obviously right now everyone knows what's going on with him, so free Cain definitely doesn't deserve to be in there. We'll see what happens with that, but less of that, more focusing on the actual gameplay itself. Obviously here we're facing Cyril Gane, and you know, Cyril Gane is probably the future of the heavyweight division. The way he fights, how light he is on his feet, you can really see these new generations of heavyweights coming through the ranks, such as Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane. Just the way how elusive they are on the feet. I mean, Cyril in terms of striking is absolutely phenomenal, and then you've got Tom who works in the grappling as well as the striking. So the future of the heavyweight division is looking very promising. And right now you can see I'm off my back here. This Gane's more than content to stay on top. You know, just dig away at the body, posture up here and there. And right now I'm really looking to reverse the position, because off the back is not where you want Cain. You want Cain on top and just hammering away, brutal ground and pound. They've got decent submissions. Wrestling's definitely the strong suit, and when you're on the feet I would keep it to as much as boxing as you can, but mainly box to close distance, land a couple hooks, but then primarily look to get that takedown. You'll see in the gameplay here exactly how I use him. I'm not sure how many rounds this fight goes, as there's several gameplay clips obviously with the 4 different fighters, but yeah, at the time of you guys watching this is very pre-recorded, as I'm away on a trip in Mexico and I'm going to be there for like 15 days, so anything you do comment I will be replying to, but in terms of content suggestions I just won't be able to do anything in that regard, just because I'm not actually at home. But once I am back, I think it's around like the 3rd week of September, uploads will continue as normal, and obviously taking on board your guys' suggestions. You see now they're on the feet, good work to the body there. Got Cyril trapped against the fence, and that's one thing you need to do, is you really need to trap Cyril, just because how elusive and quick he is at heavyweight, and he can just, the arsenal of kicks Cyril has is very dangerous to deal with. So this is a very hard fight to get using Cain, as you can see, just out of range there from Cyril's head kick. So not the easiest fight to get when you're trying to use Cain. Definitely one of the harder fights that you could opt for out of the current top 10 in the heavyweight division. That being said, had decent success when we did get the fight onto the ground. You can see raining away there, some ground and pound, so I know that avenue is definitely there, and it's something that I'm going to have to explore in round 2. So round starts off, good side kick there, pushes me back, very aggressive early on, and that's the right thing to do when you're facing a grappler. Really force the takedowns out of you. Took a step back there, lands a beautiful roundhouse to the body, and really doing great work when it comes to the shot selection here, mixing the body and the head. So that's well played to my opponent. Sway the jab there, get caught with the uppercut, and then get dropped. So definitely not a good start to round 2, but I'm just going to show you how tough Cain is. It doesn't matter how many times he gets knocked down, he's definitely still in the fight and can persevere and pull off a result. If that head kick landed, my god, it would have been all over for me there, but unfortunately it didn't. And as long as Cain's on his feet, I mean, his cardio is definitely going to be one of his better assets, and it's definitely something that I look to exploit when using him. I really look to wear out whoever I'm fighting. In this case, obviously, he's gone. I really try to keep a high pressure, stay in your face, rip to the body, and just keep draining, ticking away at the stamina. You see beautiful uppercut lands there, and all it takes is one. Especially in the heavyweight division, everyone knows that the skill gap is a lot more prevalent. Like, only one punch can really change the whole entire outlook of the fight. You could be getting absolutely dominated or land one clean punch, and just because of how powerful these men are, completely shifts the dynamic of the fight. And you could see there that I got dropped, I got hurt, persevered, stayed in Cyril's face, waited for him to make a mistake, landed a beautiful uppercut when Cyril had no stamina, and now get the fight to the ground. And here, I'm just really going to look to deny transitions, waste away stamina, throw punches here and there, and just overall drain Cyril as much as possible so that I can look for either a submission finish or a ground and pound finish. Does a good job here of getting into the sprawl position, but from here obviously we can deny the transitions, throw a lot of strikes in the midsection here and just tire out Cyril. You can see that I'll have to take the backside here, and I was keen to see what Cyril would do from this angle, but good deny there. And yeah, just overall being patient is exactly what you got to do. Obviously predicted that he was going to go up and then get straight into side control from here. So you can see just because I'm being patient and not rushing anything, it's allowing me to stay on top and build up that control time for longer. Obviously where I got knocked down early in the round, and well, I can't remember actually, did I get knocked down? I know I knocked him down, so as long as I get this control time up and throw some significant strikes here and there, definitely should be able to coast my way into winning this round. And depending on how you scored the first, either 2 rounds up or I'm going to be 1-on-1 going into the third, but definitely looking for the finish, get another knockdown here, and just look at the stamina drop off from Cyril after that first knockdown, and then the good work controlling position on the ground has definitely done a number on my opponent's stamina, and that's exactly what you've got to look to do. You can see head health's also very low. Another stun here, and it's just getting easier and easier to stun now, and this is a very bad telltale sign for the next round that it's going to be over pretty much whenever I land a very good strike. And you know, with 5 minutes to work with, it's just a matter of time before I land that big strike that eventually puts Cyril down. Then I can get on top, look to get a finish, or whatever avenue I look to explore. It's definitely there for the taking. I mean, even the jabs is taking away a lot of the head health as soon as I throw them. You can see I throw the inside kick there just to mix it up and give Cyril a different outlook, get him thinking. I'm seeing where his hands are going, they're dropping down and going back up. Right now is pretty predominantly staying up, protecting that head health because it's in a terrible position, and understandably so. But you can see right now I'm not really trying to go to the body too much for that reason. I mean, if I get front kicked or teep kicked, kneed, it can really change the outcome of the fight. So I'm being a bit patient. See, getting the clinch there, lands on 2 good hooks. Cyril's definitely got to be the more offensive one here. Try a rip to the body, but good job in blocking it. Cyril definitely has to take his chances right now, but you can see that very hesitant too, and you can't really blame him just because of the head health he's in. Throwing a lot of high kicks, going for that Hail Mary strike, and not really setting it up. For instance, there's nothing wrong with going a head kick if you need to finish for the fight, but you've really got to do a better job in terms of placing it and setting it up, like sort of how Leon did to Usman. With the way he set up that head kick was beautiful. It's the same thing when you're fighting here. You've got to use the same sort of IQ, because if you don't set those kicks up, you're just wasting more stamina and you're leaving yourself vulnerable for a big counter. And that's one thing that at the moment my opponent sort of isn't doing correctly, is setting up these strikes. And you can see I'm being a bit more passive here, being a bit more patient. I'm just waiting to see, explore an avenue, opportunity, land there as he goes to get the uppercut off with a big hook. And you can just see that, yeah, it's pretty much all over here. Jump on top and pretty much reluctant, he just let me get the finish there. So that was the first fight there with Cain. Unfortunately it wasn't a better or more competitive fight, but I didn't have the time frame to get a lot of fights in. So these were pretty much the first fights of all these fighters, and we are coming up against Cormier. Now he had a very good fight against Paul Craig. I think that was a very underrated performance in my opinion. Done a very good job in nullifying Paul Craig's ground game. Very impressive actually with the takedown denial. Was a very good jiu-jitsu, went on the ground to escape some of these submission attempts, whether it was leg locks or triangles. And just because obviously it was a home crowd for Paul Craig, in terms of it was in England even though he's Scottish, but closer to home for Paul Craig than it is Cormier, and I feel like he done a very good job, very heavy-handed as you could see, and that definitely translates to the game as I just got stunned there. So right now I'm using the former double champ Daniel Cormier. Now when you talk about the elite of the elite and the GOATs if you will, Daniel Cormier definitely has to be within that conversation. His only losses are obviously to, in my opinion, the greatest fighter of all time, John Jones, and then Stipe Miocic, who's widely regarded as the greatest heavyweight in UFC history. So yeah, he's it just shows you how good DC is, man. I mean, you look at his resume and the stuff he was able to do. and how phenomenal his wrestling is. He's got very, very underrated boxing, and that's something that I try to utilize a lot when I'm using DC. Obviously, he definitely has the power just because of the weight class he's in, and you can definitely feel he's got very, very good hooks. He can work the body very, very well. When it comes to the kicking arsenal, obviously it's not going to be the greatest, but it's enough to set up other combinations. And you can see right now flowing pretty well, tagging, Uzumir working the body. And that's one thing you've got to be very careful of when using Daniel Cormier, is your own body health. That's definitely a weakness. As you see, I shoot for a takedown here, good deny, and then ends up taking me down, which was not to be expected. Tries to get stat guard here, but I deny, and then I'm able to get up from there. I don't think DC has the half guard sweep, which is unfortunate because I could have ended up getting the fight onto the ground. But after that deny, it definitely put into perspective that, okay, Uzumir definitely knows what he's doing. It was a very, very good deny, and I don't want to waste too much stamina. You can see, go to trade there, I go to rip to the body, lands the uppercut because of just how strong and how hard he hits, gets the knockdown there. So not the best start to this round. Obviously, once I start to incorporate the wrestling, it's definitely going to be a plain sailing journey, and that's one thing that when you use DC, you can't fall in love with the hands. I am doing so here. Although I'm having a success rate, I definitely wouldn't recommend boxing just the elite of the elite in this division. I definitely recommend just getting the fight onto the ground and really using ground and pound to wear out your opponent, then potentially look for those submission finishes. Whilst you're on the feet, use the boxing to chain wrestle and get into those tight situations where then you can look for a takedown. But you can definitely see that DC does have the power to facilitate devastating knockouts and devastating blows, absolutely ripping my opponent here. Is a very, very, very strong first round, and I knew that getting into the second, once I incorporate that wrestling, that head health being low already, it's going to be a real good ride. So this round right here, I'm looking to build off what I'd done the round prior, because I know his head health's not in a great position, stamina's also not going to be in a great position, and at the moment it's probably just expecting me to stand and bang, and you can see no stamina there. So I rip the uppercut to the body, get another stun, shoot the takedown, and we get it here. I actually went for a power takedown, which is a shame that didn't get the animation for it, because I wanted to move off the cage and then dump him in the middle of the octagon. But nevertheless, finally get that takedown. From here, you'll see what we do. You know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the side control, try to deny transitions, keep GA in a higher position, and if there's an opportunity to throw ground a pound or advance into a more advantageous position, that's exactly what I'm going to do. In these 3-round fights, it's a lot easier to just control your opponents, because you control them for 2 rounds and you basically won the fight already. And if you get them to the ground in the third, it's going to be a lot easier. So I prefer 5-round fights, because when you are coming up against someone that is a wrestler, you've got an extra 2 rounds to play with. So even if they hold you down for 3, you've got 2 more. So that's an extra 10 minutes to try potentially get a finish or a submission. And yeah, I feel like 3-round fights are definitely more adjusted to grapplers, in the sense that you can just lay there, throw some significant strikes and still get the victory. Whereas 5 rounds is better suited to both styles, whether you're a striker or a grappler. But yeah, right now you can see the stamina levels looking real low for my opponent here, and I'm just riding him, just getting into different positions, slowly and surely wearing away at that head health, that block health, and you can see just landing at a good rate, even when we are throwing from full guard, half guard, wherever. The ground and pound's just landing at a pretty good rate right now, getting these easy deniers in here. As you see, just at this point I feel like he's just given up, posture up, there's no stamina, and just rain away with some punches and get the finish from half guard. So yeah, that was DC's fight out of the way. So gone through Cain, gone through DC, the double champ, and now we're going to Luke Rockhold, who has recently retired after losing to Costa. And although that fight was very entertaining for the period that it did last, I'm surprised it wasn't cut short by Acosta sooner, because yeah, Luke Rockhold was definitely there for a take, and his chin looked a bit better, but overall obviously not the greatest performance. Stamina was definitely an issue just because of the altitude that they were fighting at, and I don't know, I think after he went for that first big takedown attempt and he just got lasered with punches, I just think that he changed the direction of the fight. But with that being said, still put on a hell of a performance, and that's typical Luke Rockhold. I mean, down and out for the count, throwing 360 kicks and then ripping to the body, hurting Paulo Costa several times. And yeah, it was just good to see him. I'm happy he's getting the respect he deserves. Shame that he had to go out on a loss. Everyone will remember him for, you know, rightly for being great and just what he was. I mean, he's had some fantastic performances over the years, and he should definitely be remembered for those. But phenomenal jiu-jitsu, great wrestling, and probably one of the best question mark kicks you'll ever see in all of fight. I mean, the speed at which he threw it. It's just a shame that his chin just, you know, deteriorated a bit after Michael Bisping knocked him out. He just went on a bit of a rough patch. I mean, he was getting fed to killers like Yoel, and then he got fed to Yan, which people expected him to make light work of, which then he ended up getting knocked out as well. So very, very interesting career for Luke Rockhold, but he done very great things. Of course, another champion, and that's what AK was. It was just a breeding ground for these champions, and in the future you will see more champions for sure coming out of there. Islam Makhachev is going to get that opportunity as well. But when using Luke, you've really got to take advantage of the beautiful kickboxing. You've definitely got to take into fact that his chin health is not great at all. So when you're fighting someone like Jared Cannonier, who's got a lot of power in those hands, you've got to really pick and choose when you want to trade, because at any given point your lights could be shut out. So what I tend to do is fight on the outside. As soon as it does come into boxing range, I have no hesitation of throwing combinations, but I'm instantly looking to readjust and get away from those positions, because I know that it's not going to take much to hurt me. And you can see that I'm landing roundhouses to the body a lot, teep kicks to the body, throwing leg kicks, which against Jared Cannonier isn't the best idea. I think he does have the steel checks perk, but in my mindset it was take that lead leg away just so you can get easy stuns, and if you check the kicks it will result in stuns also, and just to mitigate that power, because like I said, obviously Rockhold doesn't have the greatest of chins, so anything you can to reduce your opponent's power is definitely something that you've got to utilise. And of course Luke's ground game, I mean, is absolutely nothing short of phenomenal, and you can really feel that on the game as well. His ground game is very superior, and in this matchup here, it's definitely something that I'm going to be looking to utilise if the opportunity presents itself. But I really do just like striking with Luke. I mean, he just feels fun. He's quite rangy, long, got a very good kicking arsenal, and you can really mix everything into well together. And that's one of the important things. Like, you can use fighters that feel good, but just sometimes don't mix everything incorrectly, and it's not as fun using those. But Luke Rockhold, you can definitely mix in the grappling, you can mix in whatever you want, as we get the first stun there. So avoid that kick, rip to the body twice, and yeah, already getting the stun. So great way to start round 2 after a very good round 1. But like I said, the threat of getting knocked out is always still there, or at least stunned, just because of how powerful Jared Cannonier is. Not the greatest of matchups. The only fortunate thing is Jared Cannonier's ground game is nowhere near as strong as Luke's, and you can see here, try to take Jared's back. Good work from my opponent in denying so, because once I'm on that back, it's going to be very, very hard to get me off. Question mark kick lands here. You can see I've gone for it a couple times, and the roundhouse to the body's really doing a good job in slowing down Jared. I mean, blitzes forward here, throwing elbows, throwing knees, just really trying to pierce through this block, because that's exactly what you've got to do with Luke. And at the moment I'm absorbing way too many strikes, but I'm trapped against the cage here, so I don't really have too much space to utilise in order to get out. Didn't want to sway and land into a hook, because doing that would definitely have resulted in a stun or knockdown, so I chose to absorb the strikes, caught the kick, and off the kick got the takedown. And now I'm in my comfort zone, can grapple here, just deny transitions, throw elbows, and really piece away at Jared. And if an opportunity for submission presents itself, it's definitely something that I'm going to look to explore. But right now it's definitely position over submission, and I'm just picking and choosing where to go, seeing how my opponent reacts to certain things. And that's the important thing, is once you get on the ground, you can't get overzealous, you can't get excited, and that's something that we definitely saw Luke Rockhold do in the Costa fight. Whenever the fight got to the ground, you can see his eyes lit up straight away, because obviously he thought, right, this is the avenue I can explore to win the fight, and ultimately he rushed and would therefore lose the positions that were advantageous to him. And that's something that I definitely didn't want to replicate here in this gameplay. So I'm being very, very patient, and I am constantly choosing position over damage or submission, and that's just because the longer I'm on top, the less the threat of the hands goes, and the more I can tire out Jared. As you see, good deny there from him, but then we get the deny straight away to follow back. advance to side control. And you can just see it just really going through the motions, and Rockhold has the ability to do this to anyone on the roster. Obviously, Jared off his back is definitely not going to be as good as someone like, I don't know, Jacare Souza off his back, or Yoel Romero off his back, or anyone that's a good wrestler that can really get out of positions or proficient in jiu-jitsu. But despite that, he can really compete with the elite of the elite when it comes to jiu-jitsu or wrestling. So if you do want to wrestle with him, it's definitely an avenue worth exploring. You can see these transition denials are slowly and surely wearing away Cannonier stamina, and this round was a very big round in terms of the fact that it shows that even when Cannonier pushed forwards and tried to, you know, break that block and see if he can get a knockdown, it ended up in him getting taken down and dominated for the rest of the round. So psychologically a big win, and it's definitely something that now Jared's definitely going to have to think about whenever he pushes forward, because that takedown threat does not go away, especially when at the moment I have the stamina advantage here, and I'm going to constantly look to work the body. And we threw an uppercut, good knockdown there, tried to get a takedown off the back of it. That cross is money right now, it's doing a lot of damage. Good leg kick there from Jared, which is something I expected more of, to be honest with you. Right now I'm definitely having the better of the success when it comes to the leg kicks attacks, and I'm looking for the body here quite a lot just to slow down Jared. We all know how tough he is, and he can definitely withstand a lot of damage, so definitely trying to take away his legs and his body so it doesn't even give him the option of just sitting there and absorbing strikes. I mean, we saw how he absorbed that head kick from Robert Whittaker. I mean, that was nothing short of excellent. I don't know how he withstood that head kick in the third, I believe it was, but it just goes to show how strong mentally Jared Cannonier is. So I'm trying to break down his legs, break down his body, and not give him that opportunity to be able to cover, because if you get hurt and your stamina's low and then your body's low, you can tee off on the body, and if your leg's low, you can tee off on the legs. It just takes away that base to recover off. So that's something that you can see I'm pretty much really emphasizing on taking away from him now. And very, very good third round. You can see mixing up very well, going for the question mark kicks, going for the switch kicks, going for the roundhouse. That's been doing a great job as of now. You can see a beautiful switch kick again, and I always try to go to the side that's open in the body. Right now that would be throwing my left leg, and I'm landing this switch kick at a good rate. If he was the other stance, this would be absolutely melting his body even more. However, he's not in the other stance right now. You can see when we're trading now that there's a clear advantage. The power's not as prevalent as it was for Jared, although he's trying to pressure. The power just isn't there because the stamina levels unfortunately just isn't holding up in that regard, which means that the power drop-off's pretty significant now. And yeah, because of the work to the legs, yeah, the punches just aren't carrying the way they would have in round 1 or 2. Beautiful question mark kick knockdown there, jump on top to get the finish, and we end up doing so. And now we're on to the final, the fourth and final king of AKA, and it is none other than Khabib. I mean, what can we say about this man here, right? Just nothing short of exceptional, really. Undefeated, that says it all. I wish he was still competing now. I would love to see this match up here in real life, because it would have been very, very fascinating. I do apologise that this gameplay is quite short for Khabib. I only had time to get this one here, and yeah, it's over pretty quick, so just bear that in mind. But before the video does end, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that's supporting the channel, whether that's liking, commenting or subscribing. It does mean a lot. Just remember that these videos are pre-recorded, so any comment suggestions, please let me still know, and I'll get back to recording those when I am back home. But yeah, just wanted to say a huge shout out to you guys. If you are new around here and you do like UFC 4 content, don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, getting into the gameplay here now, you can see Khabib's on his back, Charles is on top, and this is a very different position for Khabib to be in. You can see I was faking the armbar a lot, seeing how Charles would react to that. He tried to deny a couple times. I built up GA, got the half guard sweep, and now that we're into side control, it's pretty much game. The only thing you've really got to worry about here is the sweep that Charles Oliveira has, where you can go straight into full guard, which is something that I'm very cautious of. And you'll find that a lot of times players don't even use that, like here. He didn't go for it, got the deny, and then once you build up momentum, it's very hard to escape this position. Like once I feel like I deny 1 or 2 transitions, it's just going to get easier and easier to deny, inflict more damage, and get into more advantageous positions. So you see that, get into crucifix here, deny both the transitions, raining down elbows, and here I really could go for a submission finish, but I was just wanted to wear away at Charles Oliveira, just do a lot of damage to the head, and see if I could get the fight stopped through ground and pound, because I still have more than enough time to work with. Get up here, raining down strikes, somehow Charles Oliveira survives, but in real life this wouldn't surprise me because he just withstands so much damage. Posture up here again for some reason, I definitely didn't mean to do that. And yeah, he survives, he manages to get out, gets him into half guard, tries to get to back sitting, doesn't work. I posture up here, I was waiting for him to move to see if I can advance to side control. I do get that opportunity, back into side control with over a minute to work with, and here I can definitely go for a submission finish if I want to. I was just waiting for the clock to hit about 50 seconds. He goes for that full guard sweep. Right now he's just getting absolutely nullified, and it was at this point here that I think my opponent decides to quit. So thank you for watching the video. If you did enjoy the video, just leave a like. If you like this style of video, I'm thinking of doing one with the 3 kings, obviously Usman, Izzy and Ngannou. So yeah, let me know. I'll see you next time. Thanks.